If you want to hear the outcome of your 6 picks from the last palette roulette and have your say in the next set of palettes I'll use in this palette roulette, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and it is another debrief on the palette roulette. This was the second round. I had picked, you had picked 3 face palettes and 3 eyeshadow palettes. I did a ton of looks. If you follow me on Instagram, this is where it is, you would have seen the looks within about 24 hours of me doing them. I highly recommend you take a look at that if you don't want to wait 2 weeks to find out what I did with the palettes, and I'm really, really pleased with this second round. Actually, I have to say, I am so lucky. The first round and second round have been so much fun. So we're definitely going to do round 3, and we'll do those picks. I'll explain that at the very end of the video. So let's talk about all 6 palettes. 3 face palettes and 3 eyeshadow palettes. Let's start with the face palettes. The smallest one of the bunch was this Smashbox Spotlight palette. It's very reflective, sorry. It is 3 pans of eyeshadow, and we've got, don't know if you can see the colors really, Turn It On Pearl, Crank It Up Pearl, and Blow a Fuse Pearl. And you can tell the names and the colors add in intensity. And I did use all 3 of them. These first 2 as highlighters, and then this one I ended up using on the inner lid because it's quite glittery. And I just wasn't in the mood to have that kind of glitter on the cheek, but from inner to center lid, it looked really nice with a brown look. I think this is a fantastic palette. It is a highlighting palette that I would not at all hesitate to bring with me traveling because it is very compact. And like I said, it acts really well as eyeshadow. All 3 of them are fine. This one is fantastic as a brow bone highlighter. This one as just a nice lid shade, and this one to really punch up the inner lid. And it does, it's a little bit sheer, which is why it can just add a little bit of shimmer to an underlying shadow. It looks quite nice. So that's why I used it that way. Smashbox, when it comes to face products, really hits it out of the park. They also have a lot of great eyeshadow. I do think that their matte eyeshadows are the best, at least in my opinion. Those are the ones I like the most from Smashbox, but all the face products I've tried from Smashbox so far have all been really, really good. So I'm definitely going to keep using this palette for quite some time. Very happy. And I do have also the 3-pan contour palette from Smashbox, which I also highly endorse. They're just really good, solid products, and if you can grab them on sale, I think they're tremendous value. I have to admit that all 3 face palettes that I got this time around, I'm a big fan of, so you'll see me gushing over all 3 of them. This next one is a Canadian brand called Cover FX, and this one is an all cream palette, and I know a few of you were very interested, eager to hear about it. And if you're not super used to cream products, each one of these Cover FX palettes, and I always have trouble taking it out, behind the mirror there is a card to help explain how to use the cream contour, which I think it can be really helpful if you're not very used to contouring, especially with cream products. Cream products are just more intimidating than powder, and I get it, but here's the thing. Cream products are actually easier to contour with. You can always shear them, blend them out, and sometimes I find that powders will just stick. So once you've got your primer and foundation or BB cream or CC cream, or if you don't use any of that, you can go straight to the cream contour. It's very, very easy. Now, I don't use brushes, I use fingers. I find it goes super, super, super fast. I actually think that I have more control and that applying creams is faster than applying powders. So I did not use this one. You could have argued that I'm quite pale still at the beginning of summer, but I just really like this one. So I used this one as my contour slash bronzer. I also used this one to highlight, so bridge of my nose was the biggest area I used this with, and I also did on the brow bone before putting the eyeshadow on top to kind of make my brow pop. And then Moonlight I used as a highlighter. And the nice thing about Moonlight is if you're worried about how it's going to work as a highlighter, you put it, you put some on your finger and you tap where you want the highlight. And Moonlight even works over powder. In my experience, I can still go into Moonlight and just like I said, just put a light amount on my finger. Tap, 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 tap. I can always go back for more. And Moonlight is a beautiful, beautiful highlighter for light, fair, light, maybe light medium skin for, as a highlighter is very flattering to those skin shades. I can't speak for deeper tones because I don't have direct experience with it, but definitely for my skin tone or lighter, it works beautifully. This is a gem. It's an absolute gem. And every time I used it during the last 2 weeks, I thought, why don't I use this more often? So it was beautiful to reinforce why I keep this in my collection. And the third face palette is this mega size. In my opinion, it's bigger. It's got 6 pans, I think. It's the Tarteist Pro Glow. And I mentioned it when I had it as a pick first off that I'm not crazy about having a cream product in with 5 other powders. But I did use the cream product. It's a little odd in a way to use one cream product and then go to powder, but it worked just fine. It seems, it's called Shade. It seems quite deep, but it really isn't. It shears out very, very quickly on the skin. And the one I used the most was Sculpt. I used it, for sure a handful of times, somewhere between 4 and 6 times, and I really enjoyed it. As far as the highlighters, I also used each one of them once. And I have to say, all of them are very nice, and the palette, every time I open it, it's just a little extra treat that I keep forgetting about. It is a solid palette. The only thing that I have to say, though, is I would have preferred a second matte contour color, whether it would be a cream or a powder, because I find that for highlights, I mean, there's so much highlight in here, I'll never get through them. And probably my favorite, I'll say, of the highlighters is Stunner, but I used all of them and all of them, and all of them were fine. Solid products. If you want it to look great and you don't want to have people kind of going, what's on her cheek? What's on her brow? This is nice because it's like it's that whole idea of enhancing your features. Very much Cover FX and the Spotlight palette from Smashbox are all the same. They're not extreme highlighters. They are let's accentuate your facial features in a good way. That's really what those 3 palettes make me think of. It's not like the Aurora palette from Anastasia with very bright highlighters or the Clionadh Aftershock highlighters. Those are, you're trying to make a statement. These, you're just enhancing your natural features. I mean, of course you can go bolder with them, but I think that's how they work best. Now we're going into what I used on my eyes, and I think we've got a perfect quad for a transition from face to eyes, and that is a highlighter quad from Clionadh Cosmetics. It is the Aftershock highlighters, and unfortunately the beauty of these highlighters does not come across on camera. I'm going to swatch them on the back of my hand, which is something I regret not doing in the intro to this latest palette Roulette, because I think they show up much better on my hand. Okay, I got a little confused about which ones I swatched here. We have Electro Cute, hopefully you can see them. Electro Cute, closest to my skin tone, so it doesn't, oh there we go, it's kind of a peachy yellow. We have Ohm, which is a very icy color. Then Circuit, which is very, very yellow. And then finally, the one I have on my inner lid today, inner to center lid, is Fuse. That's the one I'm wearing right now. Oh, and by the way, I'm using Sculpt that is what I used for kind of bronzer contour. Today's is Sculpt, so I have it down here, I have it up here, and I have it on the sides of my nose, and also under my lower lip. So Sculpt is what I used from the Tarteist Pro. I really enjoyed it. I am wearing a different highlighter today. I'm wearing the Becca Opal and a blush that doesn't come from those 3 palettes. Obviously you did not see a blush, but I just wanted to mention I'm wearing Sculpt. And then Fuse I'm wearing on the inner to center lid. So that is what I have on, and I have used a number of these. I ended up using, I think I used all of them. No, I don't think I used Om because I had used it right before this challenge, but I definitely used Fuse. I used Circuit at least twice, and Electrocute once. So I definitely went all around this quad. And I love it, but I do tend to go for the black one. There's a black one and a white one. And so it was nice for this one to get picked because I don't wear it as often. I'm really drawn to the blue, purple, and lime green in the other quad. So it was really nice to play with this one. There were 2 quads in this pick, and the second quad is the Metallic Mysteries 2 from Linda Hallberg. And I challenged myself in the intro video to use this quad in ways that I had not used it. And I ended up using Epsilon in the crease for both looks. And for the first look, I used the Arcturus and then Draco. And I think that the look was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I stayed away from Collision because it's absolutely gorgeous and it would be the one that I would default to. It's very, very bright. I mean, it's the no-brainer, and I just decided not to use Collision and focus on, like I said, combinations I hadn't done yet with this quad. And it's a quad that's really easy to use. It's called Metallics, but it shouldn't be intimidating because it just makes your eyes, it's like your eyes but better. It's your eyes glammed up, but it doesn't look like you had to put a lot of effort in. It's an effortless quad. It really is. Every single look that I do with this one, I think, wow, why is it so easy? And as a matter of fact, if you look at the profile pic for this channel, this is the palette I'm using. I'm using these 2. I used this on the outer lid and Arcturus on the inner lid, and it's just beautiful. It was so effortless, and it just, yeah, it's, okay. I'm repeating myself at this point. It's a very good quad. The only thing is it's disgustingly expensive at $59 USD. Yeah, it's really expensive, but every time I use it, I really, really appreciate it. And if you're not one to buy a whole ton of shadow, there's a ton of product in each one of these. Each one of these is a very big pan, so I thought I would mention that as well. Now, for the Monster palette, compared to the other 2, I had 2 quads and now this one. This one is 20 shades, shadows, and it's the Pretty, what's it called? Pretty Fun and Fearless. I call it the Chloe Morello Ciaté Volume 2. It's a collab. It's their second collab. It was 2 Christmas releases in a row. And I really do love this one. It is just beautiful. And I ended up doing 3 looks with it. I had to look up my notes to make sure I knew what shadows I had used. Sometimes what I thought I was going to use is not what I ended up using. So let me just give you the real deal here. I ended up using Morello Cherry and Baby. So Morello Cherry and Baby as my first look. Really enjoyed that, and I used Topless on the brow bone. And I used Violet in the crease and Jelly Bean on the center lid. So Violet in the crease and Jelly Bean on the center lid, and then a Clionadh shadow on the inner lid, and it was Fuse. It makes sense. Jelly Bean and Violet and Fuse, it would be a really good combination. I did also use Nini and Mecca and Maroon as one look as well, and the Ellie looked really good on the inner lid. So the Chloe Morello 2 is just a no-brainer palette, and like I said in my intro, I really wanted to make sure to use combinations I hadn't used before, and I definitely did that. And the easy ones would have been going, the easy looks, I would have definitely gone for that chartreuse because I love lime green, and it was just, it's always calling to me when I open the palette, but I'm really happy that I did combinations that I'm sure I hadn't done before. It's a very solid palette. I really enjoy it, and I hope that Ciaté and Chloe Morello decide to collab again, because I would love to get another palette curated by her. I think she does a great job, and Ciaté London does great eyeshadows. So you put the two together, I think it is just a collab made in heaven. Let's put it that way. I've talked plenty. I hope you've enjoyed the looks that I've been able to put on in this video, probably up on this side. I'm not sure where I put them, but I did capture or try to capture each one of the looks so that you could see what I was doing with the products that you had selected. And I'm ready to select the next set. So here is how you can participate. Face palettes. I would love for you to select a number between 1 and 30. Let me know it's for face palettes and give me your number between 1 and 30. Then for eyeshadow palettes, I have 1 to 80. Number 1 to 80. Please let me know it's for eyeshadow palettes and let me know which number out of the 1 to 80 you have picked. Only one palette per person, please. So one face palette, one eye palette. And I will go with first come, first served when it comes to the selections. If it's a duplicate selection, something that was selected in round 1 or round 2, I may or may not include it again. There you go. Oh, and if you have a specific palette that you know I have that you want me to use, you can mention it by name, but I will give numbers first precedence. So I will give numbers precedence, and I may or may not select a palette that is selected by name. So that is it. That's all you need to do. Please make sure you comment below with those selections. Again, 1 to 30 for face palettes, 1 to 80 for eyeshadow palettes, and we will go from there. I thank you in advance for participating. It's a lot of fun to have this interaction back and forth. I'm really having a lot of fun with this. I hope you are too, seeing what the heck I do with your selections. And I do look forward to reporting back. I look forward to seeing you in the next video too. But for now, take care.